They're coming. They're coming your way. They'll be here soon.
Oh, just sit tight. Africa always offers a few surprises.
Wow, they're so neat. They're amazing looking. Come on, we need to get you out of here.
The pilot went off course by many miles and went too close to the border.
What shall we name him? He's over there!
Our kids have only been camping with us a few times. They're not survivalists.
From director Richard Boddington. An epic story of survival and friendship for the entire family. Against the Wild.
Review from Landon, 2006. Richard Boddington's Against the Wild 2, Survive the Serengeti, is a wonderful new family film that toughly enjoyed watching. Only recently did I take up watching much of Boddington's work, and I got to say a great many of his movies show great examples of what appeals to families and children. Like Mr. Boddington's first Against the Wild, this one follows the exploits of two children, brother and sister, who must survive a land overran by dangerous animals, where they must show survival skills and pull together to make it through. Being a fan of Gary Paulson when I was younger, I cannot help but draw parallels to Hatchet and Brain's Winter when I watch either installment of Against the Wild. Well, the first Against the Wild saw the children surviving in the Canadian forest. This one delves into a much richer and colorful landscape, what appears to be South Africa. I felt that the second installment played a little bit better than did the first, mainly due to, at least in my opinion, better chemistry between the two children, and much better chemistry between the parents.
Oh, wait,
it's hard to write this review without giving away too many spoilers. But just suffice it to say that it's a great family-friendly movie that I'd encourage anyone with children to watch. It was a great 90 minutes of entertainment. Heck, even if you don't have kids, both installments are still worth the watch.
Survival skills? Hold on.
Welcome to Rough Cuts.
They had survival skills? When?
That voice you hear speaking is co-host Boyks. I'm your host, Ilyon. And we watched Against the Wild 2, Survive the Serengeti. The only Canadian film of 2016 to get a US theatrical release.
To be fair, we didn't watch a film. We watched two kids walk around in the wilderness for an hour and 30 minutes.
Well, we had about like 30 minutes of a dog wandering around the wilderness and about 30 minutes of children wandering around the wilderness. And then 30 minutes of Jerry Ryan going, "Oh my God, my children, my babies! Why won't the U.S. start a war for me?"
This movie is wrong at all points. At all points.
Yeah.
It starts off with me not caring about any of these characters or why they're in trouble or me not hoping that they even get out of this trouble because of the things that they do and the family they're from.
Yeah. Can I expand on that a little bit? As to the reasons why I didn't care about that and why it was nonsensical. Okay, so the movie when it starts, it just starts with two children going into like a Cessna, like a little bush hopper kind of plane. Like a little prop plane, like, 3-4-seater kind of plane. And they don't know the pilot or the guy that's helping them do this. And they're going in the Serengeti, like they're going through Africa, by themselves at like 12 or at 10 and 12, I'd say, something like that. And
they're specifically going to their father's diamond mine.
Yes. the thing is, you don't get any characterization because it just starts with them. So you don't get to see anything that would make you care about these children and why they're going through this adventure and having these problems. You don't have any emotional attachment to them at all because the movie just opens with them already just on the plane leaving. And then like you said, the other side of it is they go, oh, well, where are you going? Oh, we've got to get to our father's diamond mine in South Africa.
Yeah, our rich white parents' diamond mine.
And every single contextual clue in this movie tells you that these people are horrific monsters. Like,
yes.
The other thing in the opening is the one guy that's like loading up the plane for them pulls the pilot aside and goes, okay, make sure you don't go too close to the borders. The rebels are getting close. Which you're like, okay, wait, so they have a mine that's around a bunch of rebels where they're worried about them shooting down. Why would they want to shoot down this plane with children in it? From their conflict
sure
diamond mine.
Nothing, yeah.
Africa. Anyway, yeah, that's nothing. Oh, gee, weird. They've got a bunch of food on the plane. And it's all like caviar and champagne. And this is, yeah, in Africa. You know, very poor country. Like, just every single context clue tells you that these people are rich, white, asshole villains.
And it doesn't help that, like, the rest of the movie, when the kids are missing, the parents spend most of their time yelling at, like, African war leader, like, military leaders and
Colonel Ibari,
search and rescue folks about how much they should start a war and how little they care about this country. Or
we'll go kill those rebels and get our kids back.
They're
fine.
like
We'll just call the U.S. The U.S. military will help us. They'll blow them up. We pay taxes. They have that conversation. I kid you not.
And the whole time, like the military guy and the search and rescue were very calm, explaining everything in very clear language to them about why they can't do certain things.
I kind of love that actor's take on it because I feel like the director didn't give him any direction as to how he should act. And the colonel guy is like, every single time that Jerry Ryan, the mom, opens her mouth, he's basically rolling his eyes, like, instantly. Like, no, we cannot send tanks in to fight the rebels. We're not winning the war. They're getting closer.
Like, these hysterical white people were just yelling at this guy, and he's like, again? Again?
Why can't you go out? It's night. We don't do search and rescue operations at night because
it's hard to see, and there's lions, and it would put our people at personal risk of death.
Well, I don't care about that. Go do it. Like that's the argument. That's literally what it is. And you're like, I don't think this is the hero. I don't feel a lot of sympathy for this family. Weirdly enough,
I get the feeling this dad probably has a ton of like taxidermied rare animals on his wall and shit like that.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
something like that for sure. Like there's nothing else here other than these people suck and they're awful and their kids are not better. I gotta say,
no.
Like, so this is the second movie in a string of films where people get into plane crashes and then wander around for an hour and a half.
Yeah,
and we thought it was the same kids and the same dog. Because, by the way, they don't even know this dog. It's just a dog that happens to be there.
It happens to be on the plane that's crashing. Like the little puddle jumper. They've just got like this tiny little bush plane. And they have a dog on it that the pilot doesn't know. And the children don't know.
There's no attachment.
And the charter guy doesn't know. It's just dog. It's just the dog. It's dog. Don't worry about it. It's dog.
But then, like, the plane crashes because it gets shot down, I guess we should say, which is... Actually, let's talk about that real quick, because they set it up as like, oh, there's a dangerous storm in front of us. We can ignore this whole rebel starting a war plot line if we want.
We could actually sidestep all of the horrific implications of the setup of a rebel army shooting down this plane for these children because their dad owns a diamond mine. We can just move to the side of that.
Mr. Kruger, look at that.
Yeah, it looks like a bit of bad weather up ahead.
Okay, wait. The plane crash is not because of the rebels. It's because of a storm. So why did we need to talk about rebels?
This time of year, the weather can change in a heartbeat.
Oh.
Maybe they mean the Star Wars kind. Oh my god!
Oh, never mind! Never mind!
But no! They set it up, and then the plane gets shot down. And it's like, what? It's
so sudden.
Sudden. It just happens.
Well, because 5 seconds before he gets shot down, he's like, that weather up ahead looks kind of bad. I don't know. You might need to hold on, kids. And then you hear, blah, 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 blah.
It was shocking. It was shocking how sudden it was. And not that it looked good. It was just CG bullet fire. It looked terrible. But the plane crashes. The kids wake up first. And their first thought is, let's crawl out of this plane. Which is fair. And then Ryan, the boy, turns back. And he's like, oh, I need to go save the pilot. Right, I forgot. Freddy Krueger is driving our plane.
Yes. Yeah.
Let's go save him.
Mr. Krueger. Mr. Krueger, get out
So they
of
go
the
and
plane.
drag him out, causing more damage to his face than what was there when he was in the plane.
Yes, yeah. Oh, God. We'll talk about the special effects later.
God, the makeup is real bad.
The makeup
in this
specifically.
movie. So they drag him out, and then they're sitting there on the ground with the pilot passing out, almost. Like he's in and out of consciousness. And then they're like, oh yeah, we should also save the dog. Duh, there was something else in the plane, too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, right, the dog, right. So they go back, and the first thing he does is save all the canned food.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Then he first he grabs every other item in the plane
That isn't
and throws
the dog.
it out. Yeah, fuck the dog.
And then they get the dog, and they do the cool guys don't look at explosions jump as the plane explodes. But the order of priority of things that they save is themselves, the pilot, the food and water, and then the dog.
Well, and also like backpacks.
So the dog's like lowest.
And,
gear too.
Yeah, he just grabs like everything. He grabs a ton of stuff out of that plane.
But the dog is the lowest on the priority list.
Yes. And like when we said food that they're saving, I am not joking when I say caviar. They have a full, like, case lot of cans of caviar.
Yep. Multiple cases.
Again, like,
actually.
God, well, like I said, it's a whole flat. Which really big, again, puts up so many implications of, like, Dad's a diamond mine owner, they're shipping caviar, like, it's just
like, in theory, this plane ride was only an hour or two. It wasn't very far, they said. So why would they need to be carrying so much canned food with them? Yeah, specifically high-end goods.
Oh, well, so much.
Yeah.
We'll get into, so the big thing is, we talked about this before. We don't need to talk about every little plot point of this movie because it's exactly what you expect. They crash, then it's them wandering around South Africa for an hour and a half as it cuts occasionally to the mom screaming about how they need to rescue the kids.
Yes.
And then the end of the movie is just kids walking across the plain, Jeep comes up. Oh, look, it's mom and dad. Credits.
It just happens to save them. Yeah, and then it ends.
But what I was getting to save them. Yeah, go ahead.
I was getting to why the kids suck. This was the point. Sure. So they save the pilot, technically. And then they start a fire to ward off lions because they're in the African wilderness. And the next day, so that's night 1. The next day, they decide to abandon the pilot unconscious at the scene of the crash to go wander in a random direction and leave
we were
the
flying
pilot
for a while. We've got to be close to the mine.
Yeah, but they're gonna leave him to the wilderness and the animals and dehydration, and they didn't even cover him with any sort of like shade or anything. So he's also gonna get baked by the sun.
Yes. Well, the very funny thing that they do too is they're like, "Oh, he needs water. Give him water." He's laying on his back, and they just stuff a water bottle in his unconscious mouth and start
They try to drown
him.
They try to drown him in water.
And it's like, okay, yeah.
And then after they leave, they're drinking the water they brought with them in their water bottles. And the dog starts panning for water, who's like a Malamute. Chinook, I think is what they call the dog.
Yes.
In a very normal pronunciation.
Oh, God.
And
Shinnok. Chinook.
Shang Tsung. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and the dog's panting for water, and the kids are like, "No, don't give that dog our water. We need that water." And they never, ever give the dog any water or food for the next 5 to 6 days.
Correct. But what I also wanted to talk about was how we said, like, oh, well, they had all this food in there, and it's like, why do they have cases of... Because they have caviar, but then they also have beans. They just have Bush's baked beans.
I love when Ryan's like, beans!
Here's something I can eat. Beans.
Beans! But, God.
What a line.
Yeah. They wander through the jungle, the plains of Africa.
The safari, yeah.
For an hour
Serengeti.
For like an hour and a half. But what I wanted to kind of highlight there is that just like the end, how it's like, well, then the parents just show up. That's how every single problem in this movie is solved, which is why I found that specific one that I was reading so fucking offensive, like that because they talk about Gary Paulson and the Hatchet and Brian's Winter that they called Brain's Winter. And those are children's novels, like Canadian children's novels. I think there was some TV movies and stuff about them. But those actually get into survival stuff. Like, how do you make a fire? How do you make a trap to catch food? How do you get water? How do you build a shelter? All of these kinds of things. This movie doesn't do any of that. Everything that they have a problem come up. So, like, they need to start a fire, like you were saying. So, how do they start a fire?
Well, they start rubbing 2 sticks together, right? Which can work if you do it right and you're fast.
Which they're not.
Fast movement, you take a lot of time.
And they struggle with that, and they can't do it because it's really hard, and they're not doing it right, and they're not trained. So they keep problem solving, and they find...
and they just pull a magnifying glass out of their backpack that they had the whole time, I guess. And then they never use it again after this.
Yep, it just shows up for one thing. They don't show them grabbing it out of the plane. They don't talk about it. There's nothing about that. It's just, oh, we need a fire. Fires are hard. Well, oh, it's okay. We've got a magnifying glass. What? Oh, okay. Well, we have a problem of opening up the cans of beans.
Beans.
And it's like, well, it's fine. I'll just open them. Well, they're tin cans. That's gonna be hard. No, it's not. I'll just bash it with a rock. And he bashes it on a rock and obviously destroys the can. And they laugh about it. And then they just talk about how they're eating beans now.
They never solve that problem, actually.
They never solve the problem. They don't have anything to cook it in. Like, they could cook it in the can, but they destroy the can getting the beans out. Like, every single problem. They get attacked by lions. Oh no, we're trapped between a lion and a crocodile. Oh look, a random elephant showed up and chased the lion away.
Yeah. There's the scene where a snake is sneaking up on Chinook.
Yes.
And it's really tense. It's like, oh my god, that snake's gonna bite it, and then the dog's gonna be poisoned and have to deal with... Well, sorry, not poisoned. Venomed.
Yes.
They're different.
He's gonna get a symbiote and start talking to himself.
And then they're gonna have to deal with an injured dog. Oh, the dog just killed the snake. Never mind. It's fine.
In a smash cut. Like, it's doing this quick, like, back and forth between snake and dog, snake and dog, snake and dog, and then all of a sudden it just shows the dog eating the snake. And you're like, wait, well, what? Huh?
This movie has some very weird tone differences and very wooden acting at times that's unintentionally funny. There was a scene you were talking about that you pointed out where Jerry Ryan, 7 and 9, is talking to her husband, Mr. Croft, because they're the Croft family, like Laura.
Yeah.
And she's like, I can't deal with losing both of our children. Oh, it's so horrible.
Yeah, that just cuts the flutes. Yeah.
Can't stand the thought of losing both our children.
Wow, they're having a great time.
Wow, this is great. And you're like, wait, what?
I don't think that was the tone they were going for at that moment. No. And things like that. Or like, wow, these hyenas are terrifying. They're going to kill us. And then they cut to the hyenas and it's like cute little baby hyenas.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, God. But yeah, like every problem, they either make it worse or they end up like not solving it and it just gets solved for them. They find, like, at one point they're going, oh my god, we need water, we're so thirsty. Oh wait, I hear running water. And they run to the stream and just start drinking out of it.
Yes.
This, like, brown, nasty
you've done
stream.
survivalist stuff, right? You just drink the water every time you find it.
You just drink the water. Anytime that you find water, you just drink it. Don't worry about it.
What could happen, right?
Tape worm? What's that mean?
They should have had an after credits scene showing the kids in the hospital with tapeworms or something,
shitting
right?
themselves out, yeah.
Yeah, like something.
Like, they would have died so many times. Oh my god. Like, everything they do.
So they drink from the stream. That's bad. They drank from a still pool of water that was brown with animals constantly walking in and out of it as a watering hole.
Like an African
That was bad. Hole.
That's extremely bad.
That one has to be full of bacteria and
you would
parasites.
Be so dead. That was in the first day or two that they did that, and they last like another 4 or 5 days, and I'm like, those kids are dead. They're so fucking dead. Oh my god, they're so dead. They drank
runoff from a stump that was brown.
Yeah.
From a rainstorm instead of drinking the fresh rainwater.
That's another great example. Another time, because they constantly have the, oh no, we're thirsty moment. As another Deus Ex moment, they're really thirsty and they're like, they collapse from thirst. So what happens to solve it? A rainstorm happens.
I guess.
No tension. Why bother? They don't need to solve any problems. They just have it solved for them. They're white, and their dad's rich. Of course they don't have any problems.
It just works.
It just works out.
Like, near the end of the movie, too, they're running away from a lion that's trailing them. And then they roll down a hill to a river. And they're immediately like, oh my god, water, thank god. And they start drinking water in the middle of the stalking. Yes. So they're just drinking the parasitic water. And then a crocodile shows up, which crocodiles never go near shore, so they're safe. There's another... God, these kids just really want to die.
I also want to say, you say roll down a hill. That hill was a foot drop. Like...
Well, it had to be large. They needed an elephant to pull them out of it.
Yeah. The elephant lifts them up from this hill that they could... If they had just, like, taken a big steppy, they'd have gotten out. Elephant picks them up from it.
Right, but there was a lion on that side where they ended up getting out anyways, and yeah, they never
I'd
dealt
love
with
it if
that,
the elephant
did they?
just fed them to the lion. Here you go.
So Chinook, the dog, keeps abandoning the children because they're stupid as hell.
Constantly. Yeah.
And
they
the dog's
won't
like,
feed him any
and
water
they won't
or
feed
food.
him or water or anything. So the dog keeps wandering off to go do its own thing, and then wandering back. And at one point we're like, oh, the dog's gonna go get help, right? It's the Deus Ex Machina of Lassie.
Yeah.
What is it, boy? Right? No.
Yeah.
No, the dog just leaves and comes back because there's another scene where they cross a very well-constructed bridge.
Yeah, it's hilarious. They're acting like, oh my god, be real careful. This bridge is, what, 2 feet off the water?
2 feet off the ground. Yeah,
and it's
creek
like
going
a
under
creek.
it.
It's like not. It's.
Yeah.
I don't know that you could call that a river.
No,
like that looks like a creek.
But then like
oh my
Ryan
God,
breaks
don't
through a
fall.
board and falls halfway through, and then it cuts to him suddenly 12 feet above the water with a
very
CG
different
crocodile.
Mm-hmm.
So this is after Chinook had abandoned the children again for like the 3rd time in the 6 days.
And he hadn't shown up in the movie like with the children. He was in the movie, but it was just constant separate
Somewhere
adventures.
else. Yeah.
And I was like, 30, 40 minutes that he hasn't been with these kids? Like, it's been days. It's been so long.
And then suddenly he's just there. And the girl's just like, oh, you'll never believe what happened. Oh, Chinook's back. And then we see Chinook run up to, the boy in the bridge and start shoving him down into the... trying to take him out one last time.
Get in there! Fucking kill these kids! We need to end it! End it! Yeah, Chinook's the real hero. No, he grabs the child.
But then Chinook has a change of heart, and saves him. Yeah. The character arc on this dog.
The reason why that dog should have killed these children is when they're not saved by Deus Ex Machina, which is constantly, that's the 99% of the time that they do it. The other, 10% of the problems that they solve in ways that would make things so much worse.
Yes.
Just drinking the brown water out of every single location that they find. Or, you were talking about the hyenas.
Yes.
Do you remember how they eventually fend the hyenas off?
Well, they fend off most of the animals by starting a brush fire.
Yes, brush fire, brush fire, brush fire, brush fire.
The plan
Chinook
is to
would
just
protect Africa by killing these children.
Oh, they're like little puppy hyenas. Dude, look at them.
Cute.
They're so cute.
Bushes! Set the bushes on fire!
Oh my god!
Do not start a brush fire, children.
Not! Jesus Christ! Oh no! Oh no! Oh.
Ryan, we're in so much trouble.
Their plan is to burn down the safari multiple times at a 10-mile stretch.
Yes. Yeah, they're like, okay, the hyenas are coming after us, and the fire is warding them off. They've got big torches that they made, and they're trying to shove them at the hyenas. It's like, just burn all the bushes. It's the only way to save ourselves. And they just light everything around them on fire. Everything. Which you'd think would maybe be a problem, actually. But it's not.
At one point, they press down the large grass around them, put a bunch of sticks on the grass, and then start a fire there. And that's their campfire for the night. They're trying really hard to burn this whole fucking grassland down.
Oh, yeah. They are an environmental disaster. They basically... Yeah, those are the only problems they solve is by starting fires everywhere, constantly.
Mm-hmm. The rest of the movie is basically B-roll of random African animals. Mm-hmm. And every scene where somebody's talking, there's a zebra behind them, or a wildebeest, or a giraffe.
It's
because...
constantly pounding it into you that it's Africa. Africa.
Do you get it? Or like, there's the CG stampede with 6 animals that they made. They made it seem like it was like 50.
Well, and they're in a wide open plain.
Yep.
Like, there's no... It's normally the problem of when you're worried about, like, being stampeded, it's because you don't have anywhere to go or, like, move away from the animals, so the animals would go through you. Because the animals aren't going to run you over because they want to. They're not doing it for fun. Like, if you're there and there's space...
Well, except that elephant. That one elephant was doing it for fun.
But then, yeah. Well, it was doing it to save Africa. But, like, normally, the problem would be that you don't have anywhere to run, and the animals also don't have anywhere to run except through you. Instead, it's 6 zebras on a wide open plain. And they're like, oh my god! And they just run in a straight line away from the zebra, and they're like, go 3 feet to the side. Or, like, just stand still, because the zebras aren't going to trample you, because they're just going to run around you. No.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
It's painful to watch.
And then, I guess from a filmmaking perspective, there's a lot of other little problems outside of just, like, the characters suck, they're stupid, they do the dumbest things and then just randomly get saved. Like, that's all... It's bad.
That's really bad writing, but...
There's also, like, wooden acting because of the script.
Uh-huh.
There's one time where the girl is just like, what does she say? We're gonna die out here.
Fire should protect us. I'm so scared.
Yes,
Like
I have a written down one that I'm gonna try and find. I hope that I can get it. Where it was she goes, "I'm so scared."
Beans.
It's we're gonna die. I'm very scared.
I'm so scared.
All these hyenas are coming after us. It's the lion, Ryan. There's a lion after us.
Yeah,
we're gonna be in trouble.
And then the boy's like, I'm gonna put warrior poop on my face and fight it off because I'm Rambo. And God, I mean, part of it's because children actors, but also the adult actors are bad too, including
Nobody's
7
trying.
of 9. Like,
yeah, she's better than most, but not by much.
Yeah, she did get her own makeup artist, which turned out to be a good idea.
Yeah, that was the other thing. Is I was like, should we talk about
the
that?
makeup? Let's talk about the makeup. So, something was off with their makeup artist. Their makeup artist just did not give a shit about continuity.
I'm a little... to point things out, I just want to say real fast. I think that it's unfair to blame the makeup artist because Richard Boddington was his name?
Boddington,
Yeah, on all of his movies, he's basically yet another dog movie, like animal movie, Neil Breen, where he is writer, director, producer, and editor. If he's the editor and director, it's his fucking job to recognize continuity and to relay that to his artist team.
Yeah, but it's also the makeup artist's job to keep track of that shit, too. Like,
yeah, I guess.
It's one makeup artist. It's not a team. That person knows what they put on that character the day prior.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
This one doesn't. No, Jerry Ryan's makeup artist did.
Yes.
Like,
Jerry Ryan was big enough as an actor to be like, I'm getting my own makeup artist, thank you.
Because the kids have damage from the plane crash. Specifically, the girl has like a cut on her cheek. Which cheek is a good question.
Well, it depends. It's a quantum cut, you see. It just changes on every scene.
Every scene, because it's on her left cheek one day, right cheek the next day. On the same day, in a different scene, it's on the left cheek, but slightly higher up near her cheekbone, and also split in the middle. But the next time, it's bigger and on the right side.
Yeah, sometimes it's vertically oriented.
Sometimes it's at an angle.
Yeah. Sometimes it's almost horizontal. Sometimes it's kind of more at an angle. The location and size and how, like, wide it is, how much blood's coming out of it, whether,
Yep.
like you said, it's basically like a skip cut where it's got, like, a break in the middle of it, is entirely random. And I mean...
And it's so distracting.
Yeah, we're not talking about, like, they fuck it up once or twice. We are talking about every single time that it goes to the girl, it is in the exact wrong spot. Every single time it switches. Every time that it cuts from one scene to the next, it's different. It would have probably changed if you actually look and counted it, because we noticed it a while into the movie. Once I started paying attention to it, it happened at least 16 times. Like, this is, if you counted from the beginning, I wouldn't be surprised if it happens less than 20 times.
And the boy also had marks. Like, he had 4
Yes.
marks on his face from when the plane crashed, 2 on each side.
Yeah.
And then it turned to 3, and then it was 2, and then they just left them off, and then they added cuts to his nose, and then they just removed the cuts from his nose, and then they added it, like, 2 on his dimples. Like, it's just, it's randomly placed every time, or removed, depending on the scene.
And also, some days, like, the second day, they're incredibly sunburned, and they have this, like, peeling skin effect, and they're all really red. And then the third and fourth day, they're totally white and clean. And then on the 5th day, they're covered in dirt and sunburn. And then on the 6th day, they're white and clean. And then on the 7th day, they're all sunburned again. You're like, oh my god.
And there's one scene where, like, the girl has, like, a black eye and a black and blue bruised cheek for no reason, and then it just disappears in the next scene.
It's
And
entirely
it's like, what
random.
happened? Why are you doing this? So, like, I have to put this on the makeup artist. I have to. There's no way you make that many changes.
You have to admit, though, the director and editor had to have had some oversight in that, you would think, in a real production, right?
It got a theatrical release. I don't.
If it's got a theatrical release,
I don't think so. No way.
The first movie, to clarify, the first movie is a TV movie.
Yes.
So then,
Correct.
This got a theatrical release. Also, I want to go back to that review where I'm like, we need to see the first one, because even this review says that this one lands better than the first one.
Better?
So I'm like, oh no.
I mean,
oh no.
the only reason I can think is because it's more of an exotic location than Canada wilderness. Right?
I guess.
So the only
Yeah.
reason it would land better is because it's more interesting animals and a more interesting location.
Yeah. Yeah.
Other than that, it's probably the same.
Yeah, the only redeeming qualities of this movie really do feel like there are, like, there is an actual elephant that's...
Yeah, there's a brush baby. That brush baby's adorable.
A bush baby, yeah, bush baby.
Bush baby, that's what it is.
Yeah. The Galagos is what they're called.
Yeah, that thing's cute as hell. And,
yeah, so they have a few things like that.
And there's a giraffe with a really bad drool trail.
Oh,
for like
man,
the whole scene.
Mm-hmm.
It looks bad.
I mean, that's animals. I kind of love that, because it's
that's
like,
kinda
yep,
funny.
nope, that's animals, especially like ungulates like that and stuff, right? Like cows and things. Like, they're always
The
just
giraffe
spitting
scene
and
is because
drooling
the kids are in a tree. It's very reminiscent of the Jurassic Park Brontosaurus scene.
Mm-hmm.
Where the giraffe comes up into the trees and is like eating leaves near them.
Yeah.
I can kind of see what they're doing, but so from a director standpoint, there's also other problems than just the makeup.
Sure.
And just the fact that the writing is just like, this is fixed now. We're done.
Mm-hmm.
The other problems are like, so the mother shows up and is like, where are our kids? Our plane crashed, and then the search and rescue officer has to be like, well, the plane crashed, but we don't have this signal from an ELS, and what's an ELS? Well, it's an electronic locator system, but it's gone because it's off because the plane crashed and your kids are probably dead in a fire and burned to a crisp. And they explain everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then seconds later, the dad shows up. He's like, where are our kids? Well, there's a plane crash and there's an ELS, but we can't get the ELS. So like they're talking in circles about the same things to characters when they could have just solved that problem by having both characters there.
Mm-hmm. They do that a lot. They do that quite a bit. That to me, because this movie is a very tight 90 minutes.
Yeah,
which
is the reason we picked it.
the reason why Boyks decided to pick this one.
Oh, this one's only 90 minutes. I'm in.
All right, we were discussing. Yeah, God, but fucking it's very much a we need to drag this out. Shit. It's only 60 minutes. How do we get it to be a little bit longer? All right, we'll put in some more B-roll. That only made it 70 minutes. I don't think we can squeeze any more B-roll into this. It's already really, really boring. Okay, we'll just do the same scene again, but with the dad, because the dad hasn't shown up yet. Okay. Let's do the same scene again with the dad, because the dad hasn't shown up yet. Like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, and then they also do like 6 different night scenes that are all the exact same situation and the exact same solution.
But they use the same footage on.
Sometimes the same footage. Yeah.
Yeah, them fighting off lions with fire and hyenas with fire and jackals with fire
and tortoises with fire.
And tortoises with fire and yeah.
And they saw a bug once, so they burned down the
Oh my god, that bug looks gross! Burn down the bushes! Start a brush fire!
Oh god, it's a really cute bush baby! Kill it! Burn it down!
Oh god, it's an animal! Burn!
Damn, they're doing a great job. Just stand up survivalists. Mm-hmm. The movie also has problems with like camera work, I think, because there's shots with a good camera where they sometimes show well shot things, and then they cut to a drone shot that has a really shitty low quality camera. But they wanted to get this cool drone like lift up back shot of them walking, and it immediately cuts back to the good camera.
Yeah,
they should have just cut the drone shot because it looked bad.
People don't understand that. Okay, that angle's really cool, but if your camera absolutely fucking sucks and it's gonna just stutter and look really low resolution, it's not gonna be a good shot anyway. Like, it doesn't matter.
It's just jarring.
Yeah, you can get a cool angle, but that's not the only thing that matters.
Yeah. This movie is definitely meandering. Just like the main characters meandering around in the Serengeti, this movie also meanders around and doesn't know what it's doing half the time and just kind of wanders in random directions.
But thankfully, we can solve it with fire. Burn every copy.
God.
I think we're done, right? Like, this is the movie.
This is gonna be a short episode because there's nothing here.
It's fine. There's nothing here. There's just nothing here. I'll put in a bunch of clips from stuff because honestly, this is a movie that I'd almost recommend watching with a friend if you just put it on in the background and you're like playing a tabletop game, because every once in a while you'll look up and like see some of the most wooden, stupid acting and them like burning down the wilderness and just like, or you'll get like the kid yelling beans, or the mom going, "Oh my god, my children are dying in the jungle." Like, there are moments of incredible unintentional humor. It's very rare and it's not worth watching like attentively, but you'd probably get a couple of little moments of like, wow, that's bad, to just laugh about if you were drinking with a friend and doing something else and you just had it in the background. That's what this movie deserves. And do not, good God, do not pay for this thing.
No. Don't be like us.
No.
So, okay, let's rate the dog. So Chinook is the name of the dog. Which is, it's not a husky, I found out.
It's not yes, the pilot makes that very clear. That's not a husky, it's a Malamute.
Right. What does Chinook do in this film? Chinook gets in a plane crash,
Yes.
asks for water and food and gets denied them, abandons the children, comes back because it feels bad about abandoning the children,
Worst
realizes
move.
he was correct and abandons the children again,
Yes.
comes back to murder a child and then has this
A
change of heart, wanders away,
Yep.
and then just shows up again at the end. It's like, oh, I'm back. I'm ready to be saved now, I guess. I mean, I don't know why this... I thought the dog would be a Deus Ex Machina Lassie dog, but instead the dog just kind of wanders around and does nothing.
This is a 0 out of 10 dog, not because it's a bad dog. It's a really cute Malamute. It's a nice dog.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why it's a 0 out of 10 dog is it doesn't feature in this movie.
This dog does... I mean, the dog's in the film. It just doesn't... It might as well not be.
It's not relevant at all.
Yeah.
It takes up half the film's runtime, this dog wandering
Right.
around the Serengeti, but none of it is relevant at all to the children. The children don't know the dog. The parents don't know the dog. The pilot doesn't know the dog. Nobody knows who or why this dog is there. And then the
They don't
dog
feed
just
the
abandons
dog.
They don't feed the dog. They don't give the dog water. They have no attachment to this dog whatsoever. The dog has no attachment to them. And they never solve any problems jointly except for the one time that it grabs the kid off of the bridge.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the only time they ever do anything together.
I do have a rating for this dog. I found out while watching the credits to try and get mad about a makeup artist that the actor for Chinook is named Yoshi. So I would like to give this dog a being abandoned down a cliff to get
That's what
a
I was
extra
gonna
double
say.
jump out of 10.
That's way too relevant for the way the dog is acted on in this movie. God damn. Because they want the dog whenever
Yeah.
it can help them, and then every other time that it can't help them, they're like, well, time to throw this dog into a well. See you later.
The kids are even just like walking around like, oh, I guess we lost Chinook. Anyways, let's go 5 miles that way.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no... God, I know that we're done talking about the movie, but I just get so mad about the kid going, well, we've got to be close to the mine. It's somewhere around here. They don't have any plan for, like, oh, well, see, that's east because the sun... You know what I mean? Like, there's the
Nothing.
sun. We know that we're in the north. Like, there's none of that. There's no problem solving by these children in any sense at all. They don't try and problem solve how to find their way out. They don't try and problem solve how to get water. They don't try and problem solve how to get food. They don't have to solve any problems at all. Everything is just gifted to them nicely by the universe. Like
Not
all
unlike
white African...
children of white African diamond mine owners.
Yes.
Weird.
That's rough cuts. I can't. Fuck. This movie is so rough.
If you like this episode, make sure to check us out on our Patreon, which helps us purchase and rent films and equipment, as well as purchasing Strays, which I now own for life, and I can never get rid of, and it's a pox on me.
I'm excited for how your Amazon recommendations look. It's gonna be great. We really appreciate. We got a couple of new patrons recently, so thank you very, very much for joining. Does mean a lot.
Yeah, and you can also check us out on social media, on Co-Host and Blue Sky, and not X, which I will call X now. And we do not post Zeets. You will not watch our Zeets.
We're Rough Cuts Cast, or actually we're just at Rough Cuts on both of those places. And you can email us at roughcutscast@gmail.com. We've gotten some emails from some directors in the past, which is rad as hell, especially because it was a director of a cool movie. Thank you again for the Soccer Dog director. Very neat.
Yeah, and if you did not like this episode, please send all of your hate mail.
Yes. Please send it directly to Richard Boddington.
Don't actually do that.
My votes are for Chance or for the Survive the Wild 2, because I think that's amazing. There's just a second plane crash.
Just a bunch of white people in another plane crash.
Yes. Oh god. Okay.
Do you think will they even reference the fact that they were in a plane crash previously? I don't think they will.
I don't know. So I've had a very, very terrible thought that immediately happened. I'm like, oh, this is a little close to September 11th for us to be talking about 2 plane crashes.
There's not going to be any towers here. It's fine.
Oh.
Unless
We
don't know how the plane crashes.
Oh. Oh.
Also, we're like 2 weeks out or whatever when this releases. It's fine. It's not like we released it on the 11th. Like, oh, here you go. Enjoy this shit.
I mean, honestly, I think it's almost funnier. At this point, there's been enough time. We're allowed.
Oh, it's only 90 minutes. All right, I'm in.